Welcome to O People of the Book YouTube channel.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله
Oh, People of the Book YouTube channel.
نبرات شعري سطرت لمداد حبري والقلم نبرات شعري سطرت لمداد حبري والقلم نبرات شعري سطرت لمداد حبري والقلم هيا قصائد سائلي قلب النوى ليس الشبم هيا قصائد سائلي قلب النوى ليس الشبم
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulullah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope I'm going out. I can. Right, so I'm going out. Okay, so wait a minute. The sound seems to be okay. Seems to have a problem with the sound, as usual. Right, let's see. I just heard like something funny going on with the sound, but let's just be sure. No, that means I'm okay. Okay, fine. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulullah, and welcome to our People of the Book and our usual from monogamy to polygamy, to polygyny. Yeah, we've been away for a while, Eid period and everything. And as you can see, maybe in the background, if you can see anything in the background, I've changed. I've moved to a new location in emergency. I had to move in Ramadan, in the last 10 days of Ramadan. So as you can see, let me show you. Let's see the. See the background is different and everything. So there you go. Anyway, so yeah, so I've moved to a new location. So I'll be broadcasting from here. Anyway, I hope you all had a great Eid. And unfortunately, like I said, I needed to move, and there was no internet in this house, so I had to wait for a while before I can come back online again. Although I was missing, all my viewers. Anyway, we'll go through a few things today. I wanted to go through a few things that I'd been planning, and just getting ready to go to gym anyway. So I won't be too long this time. There's a gym not far away, about 5-10 minutes from here. So alhamdulillah. Anyway, so last time we were from the book, we had gone into the psychology of women, and we had reached emotions. Yeah, we were going to start self-anger. So if I'm not mistaken. But before we go into this, I wanted to go into something important. Again, as usual, I'm not kind of against brothers like taking on our divorcee sisters or whatever. They are like obviously like some of them have been through certain circumstances, and not all of them are wrong or whatever. Some of them have had some problems, and obviously that's why they are divorced. I came across something that I'd like to share with you that, like, unfortunately seems to happen today. You get people who kind of devote their lives to somebody else's child. And then in the end, when that child is getting married, that child doesn't doesn't want to know them. You see? So what I'm going to do now, well, one second. One second. Right. Let me go get into this. Now, you have some people like who've devoted their lives, got married to a divorced lady. I'm not saying to you that this is the case all the time. Yeah, this is not the case all the time, but this is something I wanted to share with you. Okay, if we just go through this. It happens in non-Muslim environments, and it happened in Muslim environments as well. So we're gonna go through this, and this happens in an environment where a man devoted his life to his wife and stepdaughter, and the day of her marriage, she wanted her father, her real father, to walk her up the aisles. Now, how heartbreaking can that be for a man who's devoted his life to his stepdaughter, and then she rejects him? Okay, she rejects him on the day of her marriage. Now, I'm not telling you this happens all the time. It does. There are many things that are happening in Muslim environments that we'd be surprised ourselves. That these things these things are happening. Yeah, and I'm not saying that I'm not saying that it happens all the time, like in Muslim, but our sisters are falling into drugs. Our sisters are going to sisters and brothers, falling into drugs, going to divorce, having affairs, and all this type of stuff. So I found this on what do you call it? Yeah, I found this on TikTok, and I wanted to share it with you. So let's right. One second. I'm trying to see. I think need to share it here. So yeah. So this man, he actually got married to a woman, and the woman has a daughter from her previous marriage. Now, yeah, this is the one. Okay, the woman has a daughter from her previous marriage. Now, what's happening is that the time when okay, so right, right now his daughter's getting married. Right, he's making all the arrangements. Okay, he's paying for everything and that, inviting his whatever the family and that. And it so happens that the people that he wants to invite are not invited, and the girl's father is walking her up the aisles. Like I said, this could be very, very heartbreaking. Yeah. So brothers who get into these marriages or whatever, you have to be very, very careful with that. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying talking bad about our sisters or whatever. Just watch this and then tell me what's up. One second. Let me share it again. Right. So share screen. Right. Okay. This one. Allow audio. Okay. Right. Let's. Okay.
He's the one that's gonna walk her down the aisle. So let me tell you guys about my stepdaughter. All right. She wants her real daddy to walk her down the aisle. Now let me give you a little backstory on me and my stepdaughter. She just graduated from university, which I paid for. Now, she went.
Right. Okay. So his stepdaughter, he paid for her university. A lot of us who are going to commit to a family, we're not committing only to the wife now. You see, we're committing to the family. You know, her children and whatever. And this brother, this man, I wouldn't say a brother. I don't know if I don't think he's a Muslim. Anyway, he's a brother in humanity. Anyway, he paid for her university. Okay, so he paid for her university and took her on as his own father, as his own daughter. Okay, now she's about to get married. Okay,
She went to an in-state university, but it still cost me about $40,000. Now, I also bought her a car. I bought her a car straight after high school. That way she could go back and forth to school. I bought her a car. She still lives with me and her mother. She does not have a job. Now,
okay, so he buys her a car now. Now he's taking her as his own daughter. All right. Now you have to think now when you get married, when you enter a family, you get married. Of course, that child now, maybe you love that child and you treat her as your own son or your own daughter. And he bought her a car. Okay, so he paid for her university. He bought her a car. Okay, now
she's set to be married on August the 8th. And for the past 6 months, that's all her mother been talking about doing. Being occupied with, they consume most of their time. Now, her daddy, he don't contribute to not 1 cent on her. Not her education, not child support, which is partly a mother's fault because.
Okay, right. That's another thing that brothers and sisters have to be very careful about. The father did not contribute to child support. Nothing. Yeah, he didn't pay for anything for her. Right, but of course, you cannot stop a child from meeting their own parents. I mean, I was deprived of meeting my own mother for 18 years until I turned 18, I think, or 19 or whatever. Then an auntie arranged that I went and met my mother or whatever. So you can't stop a child from seeing their parents. So that girl was still obviously having contact with her father, her real father, and this guy now who stepped in. Stepped in as a stepfather, paid for her university, bought her car for her. But then listen what happens now.
She didn't fight for that. And I guess that's just what the settlement was. And he only around to make promises. I do that for you. I do this for you, and then take off. And then she'd be heartbroken. But she adores her father, right? So, like I said, she's set to be married in August. And the wedding venue, I told them they can have it in my home. The wedding venue can hold about 250 people, right?
Okay. Now, the venue that they're holding is in his house, and it could hold about 250 people. Now, obviously, like I said earlier on, this guy's devoted his life to her as if his own daughter as well. Now he's given his house, he's paid for her education, paid for everything. And I'm not putting anybody off now. Not every case is like this, but I'm just saying, be careful. Make sure that everything is sorted out, everything's spoken about, everything is arranged and in a proper way, because you can end up, brothers, being an ATM card. This is what happened to this brother. Okay, so
now I said, hey, I got a list of 20 people that I want to come to the wedding. I'm paying for this at my house. I want these 20 people to come.
Okay, his own guests, right? He wants his own guests to come. 20 people, not many in that 2,050 people. 20 were his own guests. Okay, his friends that he'd known, and he wants them to come. He's paying for the wedding. He's paying for everything, So carry on. Let's listen to him more.
Do y'all know Saturday? I see one of my friends at the golf course. Right, he's supposed to come to the wedding. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna see you at the wedding, right? He said, I only got an announcement. I didn't get an invite. I'm like, nah. I'll let my girlfriend and stepdaughter know to send out the invitations on these few people, and you're supposed to get an invite. He said, I got something. But
okay, right. Now, Well, a clarification here. Yeah, it wasn't his wife. He didn't get married to that girl. It was his girlfriend. Anyway, that's the way they live. These people, like, they live together and don't get married. But I'm talking of a situation in a Islamic situation where you're married and everything, and, like, you're married into that family and you raise that child as your own. He didn't actually get married. It's just his girlfriend, and he paid everything for her daughter. He paid for her, bought a car for her, paid for her education, but he's not talking of marriage here. He's talking about his girlfriend. So, so that you can understand.
It was an announcement. So we walked to his car because I want to check, right? And sure enough, it was an announcement. So I went and talked to my girlfriend and said, "Did you invite those 20 people to the wedding that I told you about?" Man, she didn't invite none of them. She said 250 people was a little tight, and I don't think we can get your 20 people in there. Man, I was pissed. And the people that were supposed to come, they pissed as well. Then she's gonna say, if any of the people that we already invited don't RSVP, then we'll get some of your people in here.
Okay, so those that who he invited are on RSVP, basically, and others have been given preference to him. So again, like I said, it's a sticky situation here. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just I'm giving both sides of the story here. You know that this show is to help brothers and sisters out, those who are going to polygamy or whatever, and like polygyny, and there are sticky situations that we have to be careful for. And I've taken this. I could have taken a different case, but I found this online, and I thought, well, a couple of weeks ago I found this online, and I was still at work, and I saw it, and I thought I have to share this with the brothers and sisters, like, so there you go.
I'm like, what? Man, that's crazy, man. Don't even worry about it, man. I'll just be mad. All right. So now, the crazy part about it is, when I check the invitations, they don't even have my name on them. They have her real daddy and her on the invitation that I paid for.
Okay, he paid for the invitation, he paid for the wedding, he's giving his house, and he's not even invited. He's not on the invitation. Can you imagine that? Yeah. Now, this is a situation a lot of Muslims fall into as well. Again, like I said, our brothers and sisters out there are falling into drugs, they're falling into zina, they're falling into all sorts of things. I don't think that this cannot happen in a family, in a Muslim family. Yeah. Like I said, I've taken a non-Muslim situation. That's what I got hold of. There could be plenty of these in Muslim situations as well. Anyway, let's carry on.
Well, I paid for these invitations. How you got a real daddy on there, her mama on there? Cool. Couple days later, I'm hosting the venue at my house, hosting the wedding family at my house, okay? It's me, stepdaughter, girlfriend, groom, and their parents, right? Trying to help everybody get real acquainted. Then a surprise guest shows up, my stepdaughter's real daddy. And I'm like, you know what? Cool. He probably just coming to the wedding, right? But tell me why my stepdaughter proceeds to stand up and announce that her real daddy is giving her away at the wedding. What? The wedding that I'm...
Now, that's real heartbreaking, isn't it? Yeah. You've raised a girl as a child as your own. You've sent the child to university. You've even given her a car, like, so that she can go back and forth and everything. And on the day of her wedding, your name is not on the list. Your guests are not invited. Yeah. And plus, her father, her real father, walks through the door, and now she announces to everybody that it's her real father who's going to give her away, and not the stepfather. That can be really heartbreaking. That can tear the marriage apart, basically. So, brothers, be very careful in this situation. If this ever happens, be very careful if there's a child in. This is why I'm advising, but not against divorced sisters with children or whatever. But these are the situations that happen, and they are real situations, and you have to be ready for them. I mean, if it was a widow, for example, then there is no real father to step in. There's no real father to come and give her, to give her hand in marriage or whatever. So yeah, the person who's stepped in now, he's going to be as a father. He's going to raise the child, the orphan, as his own child. That's a different story. But when that woman now was married before, or she had a boyfriend before, or whatever, and then now. He's still alive. He's not out of her life. And like I said, you cannot stop a child from seeing his or her father. Me, after 18 years, I met my mother, and I had to hide as well, because my father didn't want me to meet my mother. There was some issues between them, and neither did she like him, nor did he like her. So there you go. So these situations, you have to be very careful. Anyway, carry on. We carry on with this now.
In my house, the daddy don't do nothing for you. It's giving you away. And they were just so happy and smiling. Oh, yay, great. Inside, I was fuming. Inside, I wanted to cry or punch somebody. Probably want to do both, honestly.
So you see, the emotions come in now. He wanted to cry or punch somebody. Now, obviously, you'd want to cry in a situation like this. I mean, you've given your life to that child, and then the wedding comes in, and you're not even on the invitation, and your guests are not there, and somebody who hasn't given her anything at all. He he just made promises to her, and he's the one giving her away.
So I took that time to stand up and give a toast as well. I said, I owe the groom and the bride a deep debt of gratitude, because they have opened my eyes tonight. Oh, everybody at the table was just smiling. They have let me know that my position in this family is not what I thought it was. Oh, you should have saw the frowns, man. Now they mad. It done got serious. I let them know I am not the godfather, or, the head of the family that I thought I was, the loved one that would be seeked out in times of need. Nah. I realized I'm an ATM. Yeah.
See? Right? I realized I'm an ATM. And this is how a lot of brothers will end up doing. If you read the comments, some of the comments here, a lot of them tell him, this is disrespect, and it is really disrespect. I mean, in front of all those guests and everything, and and it happens, and we shouldn't be saying, oh, brother Jamal is kind of making issues or whatever. These stuff don't happen. No, I picked it out because it actually happens. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so
since I have been replaced as host of the wedding, I shall be giving my financial duties to the new host, and I will back out monetarily. Yeah. Yep. Now, after the announcement, a whole lot of snickering was going on around the table, right? A lot of mumbling, but they didn't say anything to me. Nobody addressed me now. Now, later that night, tell me why my girlfriend gonna come to me talking about how I'm ruining so much, how I'm ruining so much for backing out, and how her daughter ain't gonna have her dream wedding.
Yeah, and like it says here, for 10 years. Yeah, so that girl must have been maybe I don't know, when he stepped in as a father, she could have been very, very young. Now after 10 years, she's probably 18, 20 or something like this. Maybe she was 10, or I don't know what age she's marrying her boyfriend or whatever. But just showing this now for 10 years, and like somebody says in the comments here, 10 years, he says, this is crazy. Having a girlfriend for 10 years here as well, a man having a girlfriend for 10 years and not marrying her, though, obviously, this is crazy. And then they say, the others are saying, time to leave her. This is disrespect. You handled it a lot better than I would have, one of them says. So there you go. Okay, so carry on.
And how our daughter ain't this and that. Okay, well, it's apparent that I'm not family in this family. So the family should take care of it, right? That's my stepdaughter. I mean, it ain't even my stepdaughter, really. It's my girlfriend. I just happen to be around her for the last 10 years. But tell me why the next day.
Okay, so he admits now it's not even his stepdaughter. He's been around her for 10 years, and he's treated her like his own daughter. He's treated her like his own daughter, and like I said, things like this happen, and I feel very sorry for brothers who fall in this situation. So I'm kind of warning brothers to be very careful. I'm not telling you not to marry sisters who are divorced. There are many of them who are very good sisters who's fallen into a situation where their husbands are falling into drugs, or they're falling into abusive marriages or whatever. There's a lot of sisters who are forced to marry in certain cultures. They're forced to marry their husbands or whatever. There's different situations. This is just a general thing I wanted to put to you, because I saw this and I thought, well, this could benefit the viewers.
My girlfriend trying to show me how much I'm ruined, right? She takes me to where they planning the wedding, and the wedding planner showed me, all the things they got going down, everything they got set up. I look at the venue. They got some father-daughter dances, right? 3 songs. All of them cater to her real dad, not me. I looked at the food they got. 2 of the dishes got stuff I'm allergic to in it. I just started laughing.
Right, right. 2 of the dishes are food that he's allergic to. Can you imagine that now? I mean, come on, SubhanAllah, as Muslims, I know again you're going to say this doesn't happen in Muslim environment. No, it probably does, because when you hear the horror stories that I've been hearing recently, watching other brothers who are marriage counselors and everything, what happens in Muslim communities and everything, it's amazing. So for something like this to happen, I wouldn't be surprised. Now, his name is not on the list. He's paying for the food. He's paying for the venue. He's paying for everything, and 2 of the dishes on the menu he's allergic to.
Want me to pay for this? His name on it, not mine. His songs, not mine. The food, I can't eat the food, and the 20 people out of 250 that I wanted, they can't even come in my house. Wow. Okay. It's wild, man. So I went on ahead and let her know I will not be there, and neither will my money. Yeah. And they will no longer be at my house either. And you will no longer be at my house or your daughter. Because, yeah, I'm not family. I'm not even important enough to be put up on the brochure. It's crazy, man. Yeah. So I let her know that I'm not paying for it, and you and your daughter can get out of my house, because apparently we're not a family. Yeah, we just 2 people stand up in this house, and I'm an ATM. Have fun at the wedding, man. My stepdaughter's.
Okay, so that's it, and there you go. Let's close this, and right. I hope that was beneficial for you. Yeah, like I said, I'm not picking on anybody. I didn't play this to kind of single anybody out or tell brothers not to marry our sisters, who are divorcees and who have children or whatever. But this is a situation. Training for a marriage counselor, you will fall in these situations every day. People will come to see counselors every day, and the fact that I'm training for it, and these are the situations that I will fall into. I will have people coming to see me over things like this. Yeah? The guy, okay, he should have married her, he didn't marry her or whatever. I don't think it would have made any difference or whatever, but still, he raised a child as his own, paid for her university fees, bought her a car as well, and gave his house for the wedding. His friends were not invited. He was not on the list. She decided to she wanted her father, which is her right, basically. Yeah, but she could have been more polite and informed the guy first, or they could have sat down and spoken about it, and he could have known about it before the wedding. The food that was served was not on his liking. He was allergic to some of the foods there. So we can see this that the things that happen. You can see it's very, very drastic, and it could happen to our brothers and sisters, Muslim as well. Like I said, there are so many horror stories that I've come across that basically yeah, okay. I'm coming out okay, so I'm still wanting to check anyway. So like I said, these things happen, and we have to be very careful. That's why I personally would give precedence to orphans and widows than to fall in a situation like this and said, like, and then after 8 years, 10 years, 6 years, 7 years, 15 years or whatever, turn around and say, like, I'll probably say to myself, I told you so, so there you go. Anyway, there you go. Anyway, so having said that, now let's go back to one of the books that I mentioned last time. I spoke about a book called Polygamy and the Prophet Muhammad. Yeah, obviously it says polygamy. I would prefer the term polygyny, but it says polygamy and the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, proof of his prophethood and testament to the truth of his message. This is written by Muhammad al-Sayyid Muhammad. Okay, so if you can get hold of this book, go ahead. I've got it in soft copy here. And there's one thing that I wanted to read on here. Okay, 1 second. Let me increase the text a little bit. Okay, so polygamy in the nations of the past and previous legislatures. You remember, I keep telling everyone that polygyny is not an Islamic only stuff. Islamic polygyny is. What happens is in these groups that I'm in at the moment, I keep seeing loads of non-Muslims entering Muslim polygamy pages. Why? Why you in a Muslim polygamy page where polygyny in Islam is according to the Quran and Sunnah. You don't follow the Quran and Sunnah, so you shouldn't be in here. Not because you see polygyny, and because a lot of religions until now they don't follow polygyny. They don't follow it the way we would follow. Yeah, the way we are following it. So although it was accepted in their time, so anyway, let's read this and see. Yeah, and this, like I said, this is from a Muslim brother, and let's. Get it out. Okay. Polygyny in the nations of the past and previous legislatures. If one poses a question, is Islam the first to legislate polygyny? The answer will, as we shall see, be no. See, I've been saying that from the beginning. A lot of people who come to me, or I want to, I want to accept Islam or whatever, especially sisters or whatever. But you Muslim can have 4 wives or whatever. No, Islam was not the one who introduced polygamy, but it's been happening from time. And I'm sure the other nations are more polygamous than us, because we have rules that have been set, rules and regulations that have been set, and they don't. Okay, so I think next week I'm gonna have to get this slide sorted. I didn't expect it to be like this, a little bit dark, but anyway, I'm sure you can see me and everything. Anyway, so like I keep saying, that for those of you who are interested in Islam and you're thinking of polygamy as something that is holding you back, no, polygamy is not just wasn't founded by Islam. Jewish law permitted polygamy with limit, and it is well known that prophets of the Torah had many wives. Yaqub alayhi salam, Jacob, David, Solomon, even Musa alayhi salam, Ibrahim alayhi salam, and prophets that we even don't know about, that we haven't been told had several wives. We were told about the prophets, but not their wives. So it was something that was normal. Okay, had many wives. So we find that polygyny is permissible according to them and narrated from their prophets themselves. Christian law, there cannot be found a definitive scriptural prohibition of polygamy in the New Testament. But one finds in the Christians of the first generation those who permitted the practice of polygyny, being specific to certain places and particular circumstances. It is historically proven that some of these early generation Christians married one or more women. This fact is confirmed. Okay, so we can see that even the Christians were polygamous. We're not talking about the Mormons here now. We're talking about the Christians themselves. Westermarck, a scholar of history, of marriage, who says polygyny, with the acknowledgement of the church, remained until the 17th century. I keep getting told it was 19th century, but good thing now I've got information that it's the 17th century and not the 19th century. So there's another argument there when people are trying to protest against polygamy, to let them know that no, it's not. I get a lot of people on Facebook who come and tell me, like, your prophet married more than one wife. Oh, he's not a true prophet because why was he not a true prophet? I mean, if other prophets had so many wives, why would he, because he had so many wives, not be a true prophet? See, they don't know the rules, they don't know their own book, they don't know their own religion. That's why. Yeah. So polygyny, with the acknowledgement of the church, remained until 17th century, and it manifested itself in the situation that were too innumerate to count for both the church and the country. He also said some of the Christian kings and monarchs would marry more than one. Yeah, we know that. We see that. We've seen that plenty of times. Yeah, that the kings of different nations had more than one wife. Yeah. So how come is it now when it comes to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there is an issue about it, and they will raise all sorts of issues. Okay, some denominations of the Christians, among the Christians, even make it obligatory the marrying of more than one wife. So you've even got them. Maybe he's talking of the Mormons here. I don't know. So in Christian law, there is no definitive text that prohibits the followers of marrying two or even multiple wives. Like I keep saying, it's not scriptural. They stopped it. They banned it, not because of the scripture. So there's nothing scriptural that is that made them ban polygyny. Okay. Just give me 1 second. I think I'm gonna have to. I don't have enough. Okay. Next week I'll have to sort out the light, because I can see it's a little bit dim. I hope you can see me clearly, but anyway, next week I'll have to sort it out. So in Christian law, there is no definitive text that prohibits its followers from marrying two or multiple wives. But the leaders of the early generation found it sufficient to be married to one wife to protect the family coherences, and this is most manifest in the Roman Empire from their interpretation of their book, the New Testament verses related to polygamy, to the point it became prohibited to marry other than a single woman. This is something not strange, as it is as well as not strange or at all, as it is well known that the New Testament was distorted and entirely lost during the changes that was made to it, as was the Torah and before. So there could have been texts in there that was promoting polygyny. This is why the church carried it until the 17th century, because there must have been something in there. But with all the changes and all that, even the fact that they translated the words, and you translate a word that doesn't mean something, that means something totally different, and you translate it in a different language, it could change the meaning. In the year 1947, a consultation conference on the issue of polygamy in Munich, Germany, seeking solutions for the problem of the population of women who outnumbered their male counterparts manyfold after Germany had incurred huge losses to their male population after the wars. After much discussion, the solution found most suitable was to legalize polygyny to solve the imbalance. See? So they're using a solution now that they had banned, that they were not against, but when they found that it is needed, there's an imbalance in the population, then they had to bring it back. And we are in a day, in an age where it has to be brought back. We see the situations going on. We have a lot of our sisters who are actually who are following the feminist movement, who prefer to stay unmarried than to actually find a husband who's offering them, happiness and dignity. Bismillah. Yeah. So, oh yeah, there's another book I'd like you to, if you can read. It's a very small booklet, but it's called Polygamy in the Islamic Law, written by Dr. Jamal Badawi. Yeah, if you can get that as well. It's a very thin book, yeah. But if you want to get some, if you're learning about a lot of ladies in the group and even the men who come into the groups and they mention that, like, I'm coming to learn about polygyny. So this is why I'm giving you books. I'm giving you what's her name says. Okay, let's get back, and then we'll get back to our usual book. And in 1949, a Haley Bourne, is that a name or a city? Yeah, a Haley Bourne, Bourn, Germany, raised the issue of the legislation of polygyny and the introduction of it into German law. It was widely reported that the press, it was widely reported in the press that the German government sought clarification from Al-Azhar in how to manage polygyny and saw it as a solution to the problem of increased number of females in their population. Okay, so Germany itself, that had gone through the war, that had lost a lot of men, found polygyny as a solution. And today we have our sisters who are refusing, who are denying, who are not wanting to get involved in polygyny or whatever, like, treating it as taboo. And I keep trying to say that this is a solution. Oh, and another thing as well, let me, something that I remembered. I keep mentioning that polygyny benefits some women, not men. Now, if women think that, like, men are getting married to other women because of sex, not every man has the libido. Not every man has the sex drive. Not every man has the capacity. Yeah. So to think that it's only because of sex and forget everything else that goes around it. I mean, look at the video that I just showed you now. This man took responsibility of the child, took responsibility of the woman or whatever. So think of it more in this way. Think of it more in this way, especially to sisters. You might have sisters who have high sex drives as well. It's something that is normal. You have a high sex drive, and you're married to a man, and maybe he doesn't have the same sex drive as you. Yeah. So for other women around thinking, oh, men want to get married only for because of sex or whatever. No. Many men don't have the libido, to do that. Although many men would love to have another wife, but then she has rights as well. And the fact that she has rights, you have to fulfill that right. Okay. Another thing that I want to mention, this is for the brothers now. This is for the brothers. Now, a lot of brothers have been talking about Mesiar. If you don't know what Mesiar marriage is, it is a marriage where the sister forfeits her rights. She forfeits her rights. She gets married to the man, and okay, I've got a house. I don't need you to pay for a house for me. I'm well off. Already I have money or whatever. Like, I've got a business or whatever. And I don't need you to pay for. I just need a man. I'm just lonely. Okay. Now you, as a man with a fat tummy, okay, you don't have your deen. You can't teach the sister anything. You don't pray your salah properly. Do you think that sister now will choose you, okay, to waiver her rights over, or would she choose a man who maybe is more educated, has got more deen, who can wake her up for Fajr in the morning? If she's a practicing sister, yeah, she's a practicing sister, and that's what she wants, a man who's got knowledge of deen or whatever, and a man who looks after himself. a man who looks after himself, is like, got some no matter what age he is, he looks good, he looks young. She's walking down the street with him, at least, like, he looks young. Remember, she's going to be wavering her rights for you. Okay, the least you can do, brothers, is to actually look after yourself. Make the best version of yourself. I keep saying that. Make you the best version of yourself. So if you want a woman in Messiah, like a lot of brothers I've spoken to, oh yeah, they want to get another wife but can't afford it. They want to go into Messiah. Okay, fine. If this sister now, for example, is a revert and she needs somebody to teach her the deen, do you know enough deen to teach her? Okay, she's going to sacrifice her. She's going to waiver her rights or whatever for you. Yeah. Now, do you know enough deen to teach her? One. Secondly, the laws of polygamy. Are you practicing the deen yourself? Are you practicing it properly yourself? There's a lot of brothers who've got married to revert sisters, and they've treated them very badly, not given them their rights, and not let them know what their rights are. So she's sacrificing her rights for you, okay? Like which I think it was Sauda radiallahu anha sacrificed her rights for Aisha radiallahu anha. She had reasons for it. Maybe she felt old, and she cannot fulfill the Prophet anymore. And Aisha was young, and she fulfilled her rights. But that was the Prophet. Yeah, you as a man, okay? I'm talking about myself now, like, strive to make yourself the best version of yourself. If you can study the deen, then you can share that deen with her. Practice your deen. You can wake her up in the morning for Fajr, and you pray. She prays behind you, and when you pray your salah, you have you treat her the way a Muslim man needs to treat her. Okay, and what was the other thing I was going to mention as well? And look after yourself. Your diet, your activities and everything, sporting activities, and then stuff like that. Then yeah, if the woman now is sacrificing her rights, okay, for you, now she's married a man 40. She's going to marry a man who's 40. Okay, 40, 45, whatever age. I'm just just saying right there. At least that man looks young. He looks after himself. He looks young. He takes care of himself. Like, he's not scruffy. He dressed nicely. Smells good for her. Remember, she's sacrificing for you. Okay, so those brothers who want to go into Messiah. Yeah, although I personally wouldn't advise many brothers to go into it, because if you don't make your conditions properly, you can end up that in the beginning, like, she can say, yeah, okay, I'm going to sacrifice my rights and everything, and then get halfway through the marriage and see the situation that you are, okay, you're giving that wife plenty, you're not giving her because she's sacrificed her rights, and she could say, no, I want my rights back now. Yeah. So have everything on paper, have everything sorted properly, and make sure that you yourself. I mean, if you cannot handle the woman in bed for long, why? I mean, why would she choose you? Why would she choose you? Okay, why would she choose you when she can waiver her rights for a younger man? She can waiver her rights for a man who is more compatible than you. So the brothers who are out there who want to enter this type of marriage, make sure you follow these rules. And every Muslim, as a Muslim ourselves, we need to look after ourselves. Yeah, we need to look after ourselves. And I mean, the Sahaba didn't. They had so many wives and everything. That's one thing. They were in activity all the time. Yeah, they went into jihad, so they had to be healthy. They had to be healthy. They couldn't be, unhealthy if they're going into battle and that. And the sacrifice that you're making going into battle. There's a hadith that mentions it. Or I heard the Sheikh mention that last time. That it's a hadith. The reward that a woman gets when she enters into a polygamous marriage okay, she enters into a polygamous marriage and she's patient, okay, the reward that she gets is the same reward as a man who goes into the battlefield with that fear. Now, you're not going to the battlefield with, like, I'm going there and I'm going to go and kill everybody. No, you got fear in your heart. As a man, like, you're frightened now. You're not going to. You might not come back home, or you might come back home in as a handicap kind of thing. Yeah. So you got that fear in your heart. Yeah. And that fear in front of Allah, for Allah is a great fear that you have in your heart. Yeah. So the reward that you are getting for that, yeah, a woman accepting polygamy and not making an issue about it, jealousies or whatever, accepting it, she gets that same reward as you get them going out in the battlefield. Yeah. So brothers and sisters, like, these two situations that I showed, it was for brothers and sisters. Yeah, the especially for brothers this time, the video that we watched, and sisters as well. Why are you going to do that to a brother? Like, a brother who come into your family, like, who will take your child as his own, and you're going to end up, like, in the end, in letting the girl's father, real father, be, walk up the aisles. Anyway, well, you're watching Oh People of the Book, and our usual weekly monogamy to polygyny stream. Like I said, because of Eid, because of me moving and everything, I'd be, I hadn't been on for a while, but I'm pleased to be back again, and please subscribe, like, and share. Okay. So we've got to this point. So again, like I mentioned, like, the issue of Messiah marriage. For those of you who want to enter it, look after yourself, make yourself the best of your own self, basically. Yeah. Okay. Now I think I don't need this around my neck anymore. I was using it to go through that video. Anyway, let's go through this book again. As for the issue of polygyny in the ancient societies, one finds it prevalent in all of them, more or less in some form or another. From the ancient Athenians, the Chinese, the ancient Hindus, the Babylonians, even the Assyrians of ancient Egypt. Now, one thing that I found in a group that I'm in, you find a lot of Hindu sisters wanting to be part of polygamous marriages, but they're not Muslim, and they say, oh, if we find a suitable a suitor, then we'll convert to Islam. No, it's not done that way. This is not the way it's done. I think I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, or I mentioned it in the group advice I was giving to them, where I quoted the ayah of Quran as well. Specifically, if it is an idol worshipper, which obviously Hindus are, before you get married to her, before you propose to her, make sure that they have accepted Islam, because the verse of the Quran is clear. Like, you do not marry an idol worshipper until she becomes a Muslim. However, people of the book, you can get married to them. Now, depending on who we call people of the book as well. Not all Christians are people of the book. Okay, people who, like, worshiping Jesus is God, and, like, man is God, and eating pork and stuff like that, which is not the true Christianity. So I have certain reservations on who we can call them people of the book and who we can't. Okay, so you have to be very careful. I warn brothers in that group. As soon as these Hindu sisters Hindu ladies, not sisters, they're not our sisters. Yeah, since these Hindu ladies were putting their ads in there, brother. Yeah, I'm interested. I'm Muslim brothers, and I said to them, brothers, you can't be interested. Let us accept Islam first. The Quran is telling you this, not me, not somebody else. The Quran is telling you clearly. Surah Baqarah. I forgot the verse. I need to find the verse and post it, but I posted it in the group for them at that time, but I don't know it by heart. But Surah Baqarah tells you clearly, you can marry him. Is it Surah Baqarah or Surah Nisa? I can't remember. Sorry. I forgot the reference. Like I said, I posted it in the group for them to read. That yes, you can marry Ahlul Kitab, but when it comes to idol worshippers, they have to be Muslim first. Okay, so you have to remember that. You have to remember that Quran prohibits you from taking. Anyway, let's go to this, and then we'll finish this, and then we'll go to the book itself. As for the issues of polygyny, okay, we've gone through that now. Islam came and approved the practice of the polygyny according to the rules that govern it, for what lies in it is great wisdom and benefit for the individual and the society. I keep telling sisters that, sisters who are against polygyny, that's why last week I did, not last week, last lesson, I did the part of fiqh of marriage, to show what Allah has prohibited through His wisdom, and what Allah has made permissible through His wisdom. Yeah, because this is something that Allah has made permissible, and the fact that Allah has made it permissible, it means that it is the wisdom of Allah. Now, if a sister turns around and say, "Oh, I hate polygyny," and I don't want to get involved in polygyny, that means you're saying that Allah is not wise. You're going against Allah's will. Yes, you have the right to refuse. You have the right to ask for divorce, but you cannot be against something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made them halal. Okay, there is a way of handling it. There is a way of handling this type of situation where you will if you don't like it, like I said to you earlier on, the reward that you will be getting for it, through the wisdom of Allah. And I explained earlier on as well that polygyny, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it for sisters, not for us, not for men. Men will have to take the responsibility. He would have to pay an extra rent. He will have to pay an extra if there's children. He'll have to pay for them. He'll have to make sure that everything that he buys for one wife, he gives the other wife as well. Not the same thing. It could be the same amount. It could be the same amount of money or whatever. But still, So what man would want to go into that if that was made for him? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not make something for that would be bad for his creation. Yeah, Allah is wise, and it is through the wisdom of Allah that Allah has made, like I said last lesson, Allah has made muta forbidden, because it's bad for the woman. And I read to you also how the government of Iran, how they spoiled the lives of so many girls through making muta possible. Yeah. And yet Allah forbade it. Yeah. Now Allah has made polygyny possible, allowed, and yet our sisters are going against that. So I mean, the mind boggles, the mind boggles that, the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made them take it and make it work according to Islam. Sit down and talk, and, the brother and the sister who wants to go into it, put Islam first, put the Quran first, and, don't just brush it aside. I'm not interested in becoming what's her name, a second wife. And then you end up the rest of your life when not having a partner, not marrying, and whatever, and there's issues of mahram, because if you don't have a husband, you can't go to Hajj, you can't go to Umrah, stuff like that, so these things are things that our sisters have to carefully think before totally rejecting them. What's her name? And like it says here, it's from the great wisdom, from Allah's great wisdom, to benefit both the individual and the society. So you have plenty of our sisters in the society now who are not married, who need a husband, and a lot of them, like I said, cannot go to Hajj, cannot go to Umrah. A lot of them have issues in the house that need to be taken care of. They don't have a husband to do it. They've got kids, and so this is Islam brought solutions for the individual and for the society. So there you go. Anyway, so this again is an evident proof that the Prophet ﷺ, that the prophethood of the Prophet ﷺ was. This again is an evident proof to the Prophet to the prophethood of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and truth of the message he was sent with. Okay, so there's a lot of other stuff. I'd advise you to read this book. It's a very good book. It's quite a big book, but you can go through it. Again, I'll give you the details. It's called Polygamy. It's called Polygamy of the One second. Let me get the title clearly and give you Polygamy and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a proof of his prophethood and the testament to the truth of his message. Evidence, proofs, and testimonies on the message of the seal of the Prophet and what he brought, which should be brought. Yeah, it's a mistake here. What he brought forth for the world, for the whole mankind. Okay, and this is written by Muhammad al-Sayyid al-Muhammad. Okay, so we'll close this book. Got it. Okay, we'll go back to the usual book that we've been doing, and right. Oh yeah, there's another book that I'd like to mention to you as well, which is called The Boy Crisis. If you can get hold of this book, it's an interesting book as well. Those of you who like, a lot of single mothers raising sons and everything, and it shows you the difficulties of raising boys, and a lot of women who initiate for divorce and everything and end up with the boy in their hands, and a lot of women don't like to give the father the son. They think, they can raise the son themselves and everything. And this book actually is called The Boy Crisis, written by Warren Farrell and John Gray. These are the two people who wrote this book, and it goes through things like it's got a lot of good reviews, a lot of praises from different organizations and different whatever, and it goes through issues like, for example, let me give you a hint of the things that are in there. But for women who specifically have got the boys and they want to get married again, but they want to kind of keep their boys and not give the boys to their father. Islamically, if you want to get married again, you have to go to give, unless if the father is non-Muslim. If the father's a Muslim, you have to give the father back to the child back to the father if you want to get married again. So the book talks about things like the crisis of our sons' mental health, the crisis of our sons' physical health, economic health, education, our sons worldwide. Why are we so blind to the boy crisis? The boy crisis, a problem created by a solution. Yeah, the path to the purpose of the generation gap. Anyway, it goes on to what's her name, and there's a lot of things. But for sisters who have got boys, if you want to get married again, it would be better for a boy to be raised by his father. Okay, even a girl, because not every person wants his daughter wants his wife to get married, and then his daughter falling in the hands of another man, kind of thing. Look at this guy we just saw the video of. He stepped in for this girl, and in the end, her father ended up. And his father didn't take any care of her. That's something different. But not every fathers would want another man to be around his daughter. Okay, so we have to be very careful with that. Anyway, so the boy crisis is another good book to read for those specifically who have boys, and it is written by non-Muslims. But we can't just say we want Muslim education only about polygamy, because if we go to universities, who's going to teach us in universities? It's mainly non-Muslim professors and everything, and it's their books that we are reading. Yeah, so remember The Boy Crisis, Warren Farrell and John Gray. Okay, so if you can get your hands on this book, it's a very very good book. So again, I'd like to remind you that you're watching our People of the Book, and we're going through from monogamy to polygyny, and we've been through a few little things at the moment. And I won't be too long because, like I said, I'm getting ready to go to the gym tonight. And but I'll just go through. Today's my gym day, so okay. So I'll close this. Okay, so I'll go through the book we're supposed to be going through, and we'll do like maybe another 15-20 minutes or half an hour of it, and we'll finish there. Anyway, now we've reached phase 2: self-anger and self-doubt. So this is when a man is taking another sister, the wife now, the women now. This is the psychology of her. What goes into her mind and what what she thinks of. Anyway, phase 2, letter HK, is marked by the woman shifting the focus of the husband to herself. Now the woman thinks now, what have I done? Is it me? Did I do anything wrong? Why is he taking another wife? Questioning her ability as a wife, lover, mother. Interestingly enough, it is during, one second, let me move this to here. Okay, lighter screen here. Okay, right. So yeah, interestingly enough, it is during this phase that she decides to either persevere and move past the negativity, or she will no longer continue in the marriage. So in this phase 2, where she's thinking like, it's something wrong with me. Okay, I've done something wrong. I've said something wrong, or he doesn't like me. He prefers the other one. This is where she takes a decision now. Things that go through her head. This is where now that decision comes in, whether she will stay or she will leave. Okay, again, like I mentioned to you, I'm not kind of like this series is not to pick on anybody, not to misguide anybody. I'm a student of knowledge. I've studied up to a bachelor's in Islamic studies, and what I have learned, I'm sharing with my brothers and sisters, and also I'm training to be a marriage counselor, Islamic marriage counselor, and so I can help my brothers and sisters. So if there is anything that I've said that you don't like, it's not coming from me, it's coming from the books, it's coming from scholars and whatever. Okay, emotion failure. Okay, phase 2 now, it says emotion failure. The woman will feel lacking and inadequate, causing her to feel as if she has failed her husband. A lot of times it happens that the woman would ask a question. Now, women always ask, they always have in their mind that either their husband don't love them anymore, or they've done something wrong, but they don't put it in the situation where they question, is that how the Sahaba question, the Sahabiya questioned it? Is that what the Sahabiya thought? Did I do anything wrong? And no, that's not how the Sahabiya thought about it. They knew that polygyny was allowed, and not allowed, not just allowed, but it was permissible, and they knew their situation, and that they accepted it because they knew their situation. The effect: the woman will examine her behavior, language, sexual performance, and household, and try to find some flaw and reason for the situation. Now, this is why I keep saying to sisters as well. A lot of sisters complain. A lot of sisters complain that when they get married, the husband don't like them anymore. He's what's the name? He's looking for other women or whatever. I advise a lot of sisters that when you get married, don't become the wife of the kitchen. Yeah, be your husband's wife, not the wife of the kitchen. Don't spend all that time in the kitchen preparing dishes or whatever, making him grow fat, so other women don't like him. To make him grow fat, and then you're too tired to fulfill his desires. Yeah, and like I mentioned, I think I mentioned that in the other show before this one. I mentioned it in the group. I think it was in the group. There is a saying in English that the way to a man's heart, if you're thinking that the way to a man's heart is through his stomach, you're aiming too high. Okay, so don't uh, don't get married to the kitchen. Basically, this is why I always say yes, cook and enjoy your cooking, enjoy your something, but don't make it something that from the morning till the afternoon you're scrubbing and cleaning and whatever. If you don't work, if you work now, you come from work into the kitchen, cooking and whatever, and then you don't have time for your husband, and obviously that's when his attention is gonna go elsewhere. Okay, so now the sister tried to find the reason. Okay, she tried to examine her behavior and find the reason why her husband, is not interested anymore. The role, the length of time and feeling of this failure will last depend on if the failure is imagined or real. If it is imagined, then it will pass earlier. Now, if there's nothing wrong with what she's done, okay, she hasn't done anything wrong or whatever, and everything has been okay. It's not it's not her, it's her husband who wants to take it. Then it'll go earlier. But she now, if she has done something wrong, and she's thinking, oh no, you know, the problem will take longer. Verbal manifestations. What could I have done differently? I could have changed. Why didn't you warn me? Tell me what you want and I'll do it. See, it's reached this point now where the husband takes another wife. Akil, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to our people of the book. And as you might know, this is our show helping our brothers and sisters, teaching them for polygamy and polygyny. And we're going through the book from monogamy to polygyny. If you've missed part of the show, please, you can go back and go through it. And please subscribe, like, and share. There's a lot of people in this situation at the moment, and this time, there's a lot of people whose marriages are breaking down, and there's a lot of sisters unmarried, and Allah sent polygyny from time as a solution. But a lot of sisters don't want to take this as a solution. So, this is me trying to help out my brothers and sisters, and going through this. So if you're new, welcome to the show, and jazakallah khair, and subscribe, like, and share. Anyway, we're going through the book now, and it says verbal manifestation. Now the sister is going to question, what could I have done differently? Yeah, I could have changed. Why didn't you warn me? Now she's going to tell her husband, why didn't you warn me? Yeah. Tell me what you want what you want, and I'll do it. It's too late now. He's already taken another wife. Now you're going to change your ways. Now you're going to kind of no, it's a bit too late. Yeah. So these things go through your mind, and you're talking about it or whatever, and you're thinking is it my fault or whatever? No. First of all, he doesn't need a reason to take another wife. He's taking another wife because it's something that a man does. If a man can afford it, if a man can, like I mentioned earlier on, a man, obviously his health has to be he has to be able to satisfy the desires of another woman, and he has to be able to financially do it as well. If he's able to do that, he doesn't need a reason for it. Okay, so now you're going to be questioning, the sister's going to be questioning herself, why didn't you warn me? Tell me what you want me to do, and I'll do it. Physical manifestations: sadness, self-anger, liturgy. Okay, emotions: mistrust. Now she mistrusts her husband completely. Now the woman will lack confidence and distrust everything her husband does and says. She'll go through his phone. She'll which is haram. Actually, yeah, sisters who actually do this, it is haram to go through your husband's phone and your husband go through your phone as well, because this is going to cause more problem. And in Islam, we have the hadith which tells you la darara wa la dirar. Yeah, don't cause problems, and don't make problems and get into problems. Something like the translation. Anyway, I'm sure. I can give you the hadith some other time in English with the translation. So anyway, she will mistrust her husband at this point. Yeah, and we're talking about the psychology of women for the brother who's just a brother or sister. I don't know, Akil or whatever. I think you're a brother. Yeah. So You know, this is we're doing the psychology of women. Okay, so there's mistrust. The woman will lack confidence and distrust everything her husband does and says. The effect, she will be suspicious of his behavior, what he says, and where he goes. This stage, the role, will last depending on how much damage was done in the way of the situation, in the way the situation came to her attention. Now, a sister asked in a group a couple of weeks ago, um, is it okay that her husband took another wife and she learned through social media? Now, we don't need permission. A man doesn't need permission to take another wife, but he has to at least be good to his wife to let her know. Yeah, he's got married again. He comes home and he tells her, "Look, I've made another nikah to such and such sister or whatever." He doesn't need to get her approval, her permission first. Bismillah. Sorry, but at least what he needs to do is to tell her. Because now it says that now the role, this stage will last depending on how much damage was done in the way of in the way the situation came to her attention. So she goes and finds out from a friend of his, or he's keeping it secret, he's not telling her, like, you know, and suddenly she sees on social media or whatever. You have a lot of sisters who, like, you know, when they get married, they'll put pictures of them and their husband on social media, and she opens you know, her Facebook, or she opens her Instagram, and suddenly her husband with another wife, and she's not aware of that. So I would advise brothers, you know, don't go into secret marriages. It could cause problems. Tell your wife, be kind to her, and tell her about it. Okay, verbal manifestations. Now, after that has happened, he hasn't told her about it. Verbal manifestations. What she will do now? I don't trust you anymore. I will never trust you again. How could you betray me this way? Everything you say is a lie. How can you expect me to believe you now? Okay, so this is after the situation, depending depending on how she learned about this. Now she will not trust her husband anymore because he kept it away from her. He kept it a secret from her. Yeah, so she will feel betrayed all the time. Physical manifestations, snooping, double facial expressions. Okay, now J. That was that was I. J. Emotions. Comparison. The woman will examine herself against the new or imagined woman to establish similarities and dissimilarities. Now, a lot of the time, what happens is the brother gets married to a woman much more beautiful than his wife, or much younger than his wife, and obviously now this guy, like, you know, it's going to cause emotions now. Yeah, the comparison. Yeah, she's going to compare herself. Yeah, because I'm fat, because I'm you know, I'm short, or because I'm not beautiful, or whatever. Like, you know, he went and got married to a younger woman, younger than me. This type of thing. Yeah? So the effect now, she will compare herself to the other women for differences in body size, hair, beauty, and intelligence. Okay, so these are the emotions a woman gets when her husband is taking another wife. She's going to compare herself now. She's much younger than me. She's more beautiful than me. Even if she knows her, she's seen her, or she probably just saw a picture of her from far away and thought, you know, that this woman is much more beautiful or whatever. So this gives her emotions now. The effect: she will compare herself to the other women. I've read that. Okay. Role: women with weaker self-esteem will have a harder time moving past this stage than those whose self-esteem is healthy. Now, a lot of women have got a very low self-esteem. They think they're too fat. They think they're ugly. They think they're this. They're, you know, a lot of women, especially what we're going through in this world today, they kind of portray women as, you know, you have to be a certain height, you have to be a certain form or whatever, you know. So other sisters now feel that, like, you know, they have a weak self-esteem. Yeah. And moving past this stage will be more difficult for her. She will think that that woman is thinner than me, she's more beautiful than me, and it will be difficult for this sister now to build her self-esteem, because she has a weaker self-esteem. Verbal manifestations: you always wanted someone like that. Okay, you don't like me anymore. A lot of sisters think that when their husband gets another wife, he doesn't love her anymore. That's not the case. Sahaba have always, if we take the example of the Sahaba, they used to queue up. Not queue up literally, but they used to queue up when a woman became a divorcee, or she became a widow. They used to kind of they didn't leave her to wait. They sent their proposals, so they didn't have to be anything wrong with their wives. Their wives are perfectly okay, perfectly but the wife has that in her mind. You don't like me anymore. No, Prophet ﷺ loved all his wives. Yeah, the Sahaba loved all their wives, but that's the thought that comes in the woman's mind. I must not be pretty to you. Okay, that's why you went to and got another wife, because I'm not pretty to you. Okay, you have what you want now, don't you? So she's got that thought in her mind, and it come out of her mouth. You have what you want now. When he got married to you, and this is why one brother, when I'm following his series a lot as well. He's a marriage counselor and he's got a lot of experience. I'm not going to mention his name, but he's got a lot of experience. And the fact that I'm training to be a marriage counselor as well, I kind of follow a lot of his what's his name, a lot of his programs. He mentions in there, if you're getting married, get married to a woman who is beautiful, who when you look at her, she makes your heart happy. That counts as for the first wife, counts for the second wife, for the third, for the fourth as well. The Prophet ﷺ told us to make deen our priority, but he didn't tell us to make deen our priority and forget the rich woman, forget the beautiful one. No, if you can find a sister who's got beauty, deen, family, she's got a good family name or whatever, all packed in one, alhamdulillah. Or if you can get a sister who's, she's got the deen, she's a beautiful sister. At the same time, she's got good personality, whatever, But don't go and take a sister who another thing I was reading earlier on the internet. Don't know if it happens in the Muslim environments, but there's a girl, a man in Africa got married to a woman. I don't know if it's true, but it looked like it was true. Got married to a woman, and on the first day of his wedding, he divorced her because after she took off the 10 kilos of makeup from her face, she was totally different from what he had seen her. So obviously that man, he wasn't happy with that. So that's one thing that is very important as well. The Prophet ﷺ told the Sahaba, if you want to, there's a hadith where one Sahaba wanted to get married and he came and told the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ asked him, have you seen her? And he said, no. He said, go and see her. It is your right, to see her. And he said that the Quraysh, was it the Quraysh women, or he said the Ansar women have something in their eyes, something like this, I don't know. But he told him, go and see her, so that you can see her before you marry her, so that on the day of marriage, when she takes off the 10 kilos of makeup that she has, that you don't get a surprise kind of thing, So this guy in the news, in the article I was reading, he actually divorced her on the night because he wasn't happy with her, because when she took off her makeup, she was completely different, and she was. It's not nice to say a woman was ugly, but yeah, she was ugly, kind of thing, So, so there you go. So you have what you want now, don't you? She will say that to him. Okay. Physical manifestations: obsessive focus on maintaining beauty and sloppiness. Actually, this is a good thing, If a man gets married to one wife, and his wife has been neglecting, his first wife has been neglecting herself for a while. When he gets married now, she goes off and I want to make myself beautiful now. I want to, go into all this time. She wasn't interested in going there to the gym. She was putting on weight or whatever. So this now will motivate her. Yeah, it's probably going to motivate her now to look good for her husband. So it's a plus. it's a plus, win-win both sides. Like, he comes home, his wife is beautiful. The other wife is beautiful as well. I'm not saying that any sisters are not beautiful or whatever. All our sisters, mashallah, they are, they have beauty in them, and beauty is in the heart as well. But this is what the book is mentioning, and we're going through it. Okay, number K, emotion, fear. Okay, often the woman will experience unpleasant, even strong emotion caused by the anticipation of awareness of the polygyny. Okay, she's in a situation now. This could happen to the first wife or the second wife, where she will experience an unpleasant situation caused by this. The effect, the woman will have varying degree of fear caused by the newness of polygyny and feeling abandoned and alienated. Now, you get a lot of sisters, sisters that when their husbands get married again, the husband, unfortunately, I advise brothers not to do that. Last time in the last show as well, I mentioned to brothers, like, show your wife love. Okay, if you're going to take a second wife, don't alienate the first one. Don't alienate the first one. Show her that you love her just as much as you loved her from the time you got married to her. I've been married for 30 years now, and I always say to my wife that when I look at you, you remind me of the day that I got married to you. Okay, doesn't that make a wife feel good? Doesn't that make your wife feel happy? I say it sincerely, so it will not make her feel abandoned. It will not make her feel abandoned and alienated. And after you've taken the second wife as well, don't abandon that first wife. Don't abandon, make her feel alienated now. Okay? So, and this role is short-lived. This role is short-lived. It happens and then it goes. Verbal manifestation. I'm scared. I feel that I'm in limbo, as if I'm standing in the edge of a cliff about to jump off. I'm not too sure how to take this. Anyway, physical manifestation. There's a loss of appetite, sleeping a lot, and uncontrollable tears. So when this happens to the wife now, if she feels alienated, the husband's giving more attention to the other wife and not her. She feels alienated. So now there's a loss of appetite. She sleeps a lot and uncontrollable tears. Okay, we've reached the 1.5 hour point, and like I said, I'm getting ready to go to the gym. So I think we'll end here now. We've finished phase 2. We're going to enter phase 3 next session, growth and change. Okay, so again, I'd like to remind you that you've been watching O People of the book, and this is your brother Jamal, and we've been going through the session from monogamy to polygamy, and like I said, there's a lot of situations that are going on at the moment, and sisters are ending up disliking polygyny, although it was made for them. Allah made it for them, and for their benefit and not for the man. And yet, the sisters got in her mind that he's marrying just looking for now. A lot of men have got that in their mind. I want another wife because of sex or whatever. But you'll find that not every man can do that. Not every man has got that libido. Not every man has got this sex drive or whatever to marry a woman just because of sex. Okay, he's got the responsibilities there. If she has children herself, she can fall ill. If she ends up getting pregnant from you or whatever, then you've got the responsibilities of looking after her. So there's a lot of things that we have to sit down and think about. And like I went through earlier on, I showed you the video of the man who went into this relationship. It was his girlfriend, not his wife. It was his girlfriend, and he gave his life to this girl, to his stepdaughter. And in the end, like, when she was getting married, she preferred her father, her real father, to give her hand in marriage and stuff like that. So this is a warning to brothers. You want to get married to a sister who's got children, be very careful and stuff like that. So these were advices that I was giving to brothers. And also the other thing I mentioned as well was the issue of sisters who hate polygyny. Why would Allah have made something like this out of his wisdom? So if you hate it, that means you're insinuating that Allah is not wise, that you know better than Allah. And I gave you the example of of being patient, and you get the reward as if a man is going to the battlefield. The fear that is in his heart, when he sees that gun, or he sees that sword coming over him, and that fear that is in his heart, you sitting in your house there and being patient, you get that reward. And then we also spoke about the issue of men who want to go into messiah marriages. Make yourself the best of yourself. Look after your health, and make sure, because that woman will not waiver her rights if you don't have anything. I mean, she you're not going to have to take responsibility to look after her. You're not going to have to pay her rent. You're not going to have to feed her. So what have you got to offer now? Obviously, if you're looking after yourself, you've got an athletic body, and you look young, and then obviously you can go into that type of wedding. Although, like I said, I wouldn't advise brothers to go into that type of marriage, because the woman can change her mind afterwards. So there's a lot of things we've gone into, and then we've gone back to the book again. So next week, inshallah, next week, I'm not going to keep it that long anymore, because there was no Ramadan and I moved and everything. So next week we're going to go to phase 3, growth and change. Okay, so and for those of you who have the book, it's on page 87. Okay, so we're going to end here, and Jazakallah khair. And like I said, if you don't watch it today, you'll probably be watching it afterwards, and I hope you benefited from it. And whatever I've said, if I've said anything wrong, it's from me. Anything good that you've earned from this is from Allah. And please make dua for me that Allah gives me more knowledge that I can share with you. And I'm sincere as well, that Allah makes me sincere in what I'm sharing with you, because obviously, I'm weak as well, and I'm human and I'm weak. And inshallah, I will see you next time. If you do have any questions, you can put it in the comments. You can write it in the comments, and then next week we can go through it. Or if you want to come, while you're attending the show itself, if you have any questions, maybe we can bring you on, and you can ask your questions. I'm not an alim, like I said. I'm a student of knowledge. I've studied Islam, and if I can answer, I'll answer. Otherwise, I'll get the answer for you from the scholar. Jazakallah khair. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.